A viewfinder is a tool that helps you to isolate and crop parts of your subject so you can decide what it is that you want to include within the frame of your drawing or painting. So essentially it's like a little window that you look through and you're going to view your subject through it. Now there are some commercial options out there, and I actually have this one called a view catcher. It's kind of nice because it's plastic and small and kind of fits into a backpack or pocket. The other nice thing about it is it has proportions marked on it already. So the important thing about a viewfinder is that the window that you're looking through, it needs to be proportionate to the size of the drawing or painting that you're doing. So by proportionate, basically, it needs to be the same shape here. So this view catcher, it has markings on it. So it has marked, like if you want to do like a 9x12 or 11x14, and if you flip it over, it has a couple more markings. So the drawing today that I have here is, I measured out the frame and it's 8x10. So I could make this viewfinder 8x10, and then the size of this window here is proportionate to the size of my canvas. Now, other options is you can just simply make your own. So I have a homemade one here, and it's just a couple pieces of scrap mat board that I've cut into 2 L shapes. So just kind of some mat board. And then what you can do is you can change the aperture size. So you can change here the size of the opening. Now to get this proportionate to my canvas, I could do, I could set up the proportions and do the math, or you could just eyeball it too. So a lot of times what I will do is kind of quickly line up. I'm holding the viewfinder closer to me in front of me, and I'm just looking through the viewfinder and I'm lining it up with the edges of my drawing here. So something like this. And then what I have is I have this opening that's proportionate to my canvas. And then I'm going to go ahead and just clip those real quick here in place. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that viewfinder to decide what about this still life that I want to draw. So, I could decide, what do I want the composition to look like? And so it gives me this little preview here, much like looking through the viewfinder on a canvas, you get to compose your composition here. So, let's say I want to crop in a little bbit here. The other nice thing about a viewfinder is that it can help you with some layouts and proportions. So for example, on my viewfinder here, I could even mark like where some of this is happening. So let's say the edge of the vase here, I could make a little mark for myself where the edge of the vase touches the left side of the frame. I can make a mark there. Where the book hits the side over here, I can make a mark there. Of course, too, what this will let me do is it'll help me once I go, once I do a little bit of drawing and then I go back to line up my viewfinder again, some of those marks can also be handy too, to just make sure your viewfinder is back in the same spot. Okay, so what I can do with those marks is I can make some judgments then on my frame, since my canvas, my paper is the same size or the same proportion here as my viewfinder. I can say, okay, if the edge of the vase is here in the viewfinder, that's just a little bit left of center. So that means here on my piece of paper, the edge of the vase is going to have to be just a little bit left of center. And if the left corner of the vase touches the edge over here on the viewfinder, so that's maybe just a little bit higher than 1/3 of the way from the bottom on the left side. So over here on my paper, 1/3 of the way from the bottom is about there. I marked the top of the shell being about 1/4 of the way from the right corner. So I can make that little mark. And the book here is maybe about 1/6 of the way from the bottom over here. So now I have some little measurement placement marks then to go ahead and start the drawing. And as I'm drawing, I'm going to keep checking the viewfinder. So I'm going to keep putting the viewfinder up here and looking where things are located.